Aloha! Welcome to the Friday Marketing Jam Session. I'm your host, Tom Gaddis, my co-host, Nick Luisi here. I am excited to be here today. We're going to be talking about social media. More specifically, we have a social media specialist on to reveal how you can connect authentically online, right? We talk about this a lot. Authenticity in reaching out and building relationships with local business owners and potential clients. Our guest today is going to tell you about how they're doing that, what they're doing. It's been awesome to see them getting traction there. An extraordinary example of what can be done when you put in the work, right? They're just following the process, putting in the work, and they're getting the results. So I'm excited to be here. I'm going to cue up the intro, and then we'll see you back here in one momento.
It's time, the moment you've been waiting for. Get ready for the fastest 60 minutes of marketing strategies and tactics to grow and scale your business from anywhere in the world. After 167 agonizing hours, we've returned for a brand new Aloha Marketing Jam session. And now, here are your hosts.
Oh, man, listen to that crowd, Nick.
It's just wonderful. It's like you were in Vegas at the Super Bowl. It sounds just like that, I bet. And I know that you were probably there. I thought I saw you in the box with Taylor. I saw, Blake Lively, and then I thought I saw Tom. I could have sworn you were in the box with them.
Yeah, Taylor and I are like this.
You guys are like this? You're best of buds?
I'm over here. I'm over here.
At least you're on the same hand. At least you're on the same hand, Tom. I mean, that's the most important thing.
It was a little...
Go ahead. Was it crazy there?
I was a little disappointed because I wanted to go and check out everything that was going on down on the strip, right? Because there had been a lot of stuff going on. There was a lot of stuff leading up to the week and all these different things they were doing. And I was super excited to go down there and check it out. And just, I wasn't going to go to the Super Bowl because the tickets were like crazy. I mean, it was like $8,000 or something for the nosebleed seats, and they just went up from there. But I thought, I'll go down and check it out and just get a feel for what's going on. And then I got strep throat.
Oh yeah, that's right. How are you feeling?
The week before, yeah. I woke up Sunday and felt kind of off, and then Monday I had a real sore throat, and Tuesday, and then Wednesday it wasn't going away. So I was able to get into the doctor Thursday. And so they immediately started me on antibiotics. And so I was taking those. So it took me a few days to kind of get recovered. And then, my first clear day, they were like, you have to take the antibiotics for 3 days and then you're not contagious. Super Bowl Sunday was my not contagious day.
Gotcha.
So I just made it in under the wire.
Good day. Good day. Excellent.
Actually, my wife and I went to every year. We watch the Super Bowl at the La Casa cigar bar that's by our house.
Okay.
So they do a little party. They have food. They do squares. It's what I like about it is it's super chill. You're not crammed in. I mean, they deliberately keep it, not a lot of people, and the owners there are really nice and all that stuff. So anyway, so we went there, and actually Todd Spears, who we've done some stuff with, he came. Yeah. He's here in Vegas, so he came over and hung out with my wife and I, and we watched the game and smoked cigars and had a good time. And yeah, that was it. But I didn't get to go see any of the Super Bowl stuff.
The hoopla. And has the strip really never slows down, but my guess is it's kind of, it had to be on security heightened, during that time. It's probably melted.
Yeah, well, I mean, they blocked some things off, and they had different stuff all over the place, but yeah, I mean, every time I go down to the strip, and even when we were watching on the Super Bowl, I'm just like, I mean, what a money machine. I mean, talk about a money machine. Like if you're ever thinking if you ever start to get that scarcity brain that there's not enough money out there, you're never going to be able to get, just think about the Las Vegas Strip. Because I do that all the time. I think, right now down there are literally billions of dollars. Definitely millions of dollars exchanging hands, going back and forth every single day, 24 hours a week. right? And helps me to kind of realize that, like, yeah, it's out there, right? It's out
Right.
there.
It's
It's just a
amazing.
matter
I
of
mean, I
putting
think
myself in the stream of it, right?
how do you just, I just want to scoop up my part and maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit more of my part. But, I think there's a great lesson in that. One is, as a marketer, right? I think, watching everything they do is just smart. But two is, we sometimes are easy to say that, oh, no one's buying, or there's no money floating,
Yeah.
right? Or money's tight. And just, you have to kind of change your paradigm and go into that, right? I mean, I'm always amazed every time I go down to the city of Chicago, which is, where I live. You sit on Michigan Avenue, or you go on the Gold Coast, and you see people walking out of Louis Vuitton, right? And Gucci, and money is flowing, and you just, you just have to kind of put yourself there. But that's, I'm glad you're feeling better. And that's a great lesson that you gave to us. I think you let me on because I'm growing a beard, right? So Cameron said, you're growing a beard now. Tom will allow you back on the show. And next time I'll have a hat, and I just want to be at the cool kids table.
We'll be twinsies, right? Well, it's interesting what you said about the abundance thing, because one of the things that I have always done, like, and this goes back to even when I was broke, like when I was broke and had no money, I always gravitated to live places where money and that stuff was, So, like, I mean, I got out of Oklahoma pretty early, and I went to Florida. I was in the Boca Raton area. I worked at a really nice resort there, then, Maui, and now Las Vegas. And, like, I really do believe there's something to what you said there. Like, even when you're broke, just going to those areas where there is luxury and wealth, and just walking around and just being in, even when you're not feeling that way, right? Just being in that environment, doing those little things of, like, what was nice about, like, Maui, when I first moved there was, because we lived there, it's like we could go do these luxurious things, but they didn't cost us a lot of money, right? Like, it didn't cost any money to go to the beach, right? Where everybody else spent a fortune to be there, right?
Sure,
and, like, you could just go there. It didn't cost any money to go walk through the Four Seasons or the Grand Wailea hotels and see the opulence and just be kind of immersed in those things. And so sometimes, when you're feeling like like what you're talking about, I think it's important to do those things, to maybe even have a little fund that you put some money into, where you just you live rich for a day, like maybe we rent a nice car,
or lunch, right?
or just lunch, or just whatever it is, just something that's, like, to you as splurging or a luxurious thing. Because I had a friend in Maui who told me early on, he was like, Tom, you don't have to be a millionaire to live like a millionaire. And I thought, oh my God, like, I'd never even, like, connected that. Like, well, yeah, I could just be a nice, like, I don't have to have that money to do luxurious things. I can do that early on, right? And so I think that was super important.
It's a good lesson. That's a good lesson. And you even put yourself in it for a day, right? An hour, a lunch, take a black car,
Anything,
and
whatever. I mean, just
live large, and or even go to a bookstore and flip through Rob Report, right? Or watch, the watch magazines and that, and just, kind of immerse yourself in it. I think is,
I think it definitely helps.
Yeah.
So listen, I know we have our guest in the back.
Yeah, we got to talk about what a treat. I mean, I love Joanne. She is killing it, really killing it. And what a great topic, right? How to be online and be authentic online. So let's get her in.
Yeah, Joanne, welcome to the live show. What's up?
What an intro. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
It's so great to have you, Joanne. You're doing some phenomenal things. We want to hear all about it. And, so kind of let's get to it. What, you've made a point of living your authentic self online. And I know we probably got a lot of questions about this, but, when you say that, what does that mean? And then how do you do it tactically?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, when you asked me to speak on this, I have really been racking my brain. What is it that I do? How do you quantify it? But the authenticity is really the key word. I mean, I'm just me. I give away anything and everything I know. People ask questions. I will help them through the whole thing. I spent hours this past, I guess it was the last 2 weeks, trying to help somebody recover a Facebook page. I'm not getting anything out of it. In the meantime, they referred two more people to me. So it really is just a matter of being authentic, really wanting to help, that they feel that you really want to help, and then they know people who also need that help. Um, you know, social media is such a content devouring beast. You're constantly having to figure out what are you going to put on here. But there's so many ways, um, to do that, whether it's written or a graphic or a video. I don't even utilize video near as much as I should. But I do think it's being true. Find out who are you, what is it you really want to do through this process, and then reveal that so that people resonate with it. Does that make sense?
100%. And I think, you kind of threw away, I think you buried the lead a little bit, right? So you're helping somebody recover their Facebook group, or their Facebook page or their Facebook, whatever. Maybe they got put Facebook jail, and, you spend hours with them. And, oh, by the way, they sent me 2 referrals, right? So you kind of, I mean, you didn't go doing that to do that, but that was the end result. And I think, in a world of let's say fakeness, right? And social media has a tendency to filters, and if I you pay attention, there's a lot of people out there that are pretending to be something they're not, and so people probably gravitate towards a more authentic person. You are big also in alignable, right? And I would consider that almost social media-esque too. So talk a little bit about that, because I don't think we've ever done that on this show, about how you really drive it tactically. So let's touch a little bit on that.
Real quick, Joanne, before you do that, can I ask just a couple of pre
Yes.
that question? So number one, do you consider yourself a technical person?
No.
More so early on in my career, not so much. In fact, I just told somebody the other day, I very seldom even deploy anything anymore. So, I mean, I've hired people to do it, so I'm way out of touch.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not like a not like a tech whiz when it comes to that stuff, right?
No.
So that's one thing that was interesting to me. The other thing too is you're working in kind of I mean, you're working in your local market, right? Like just inside your local market. So when you post content on your various social media platforms and Alignable, which we'll talk about in a second, you're really talking to a very small group of people, but you're getting a lot of traction, right?
Yes.
So I think there's a disconnect there. Sometimes people think for social media and that stuff to work, you got to go big, you got to be big, but you're doing it very concentrated and very local. And the other question I would want to know and hear your thoughts on is how do you stay motivated to do that when it feels like there's nobody listening? Because does it feel like that sometimes? Like you're just posting stuff and then but there's just there's crickets. How do you stay motivated to do it when it feels like nobody's listening?
Yeah, because leading into this, I'm like, oh, gee, if everybody checks my Facebook page, there's not that much engagement there. The engagement doesn't happen on that page. Most of my engagement is in life. They see me at the BNI or the chamber thing, or I go to an open house or a ribbon cutting, and then say, oh, you're Joanne. I mean, I haven't even maximized at all how the REACH program and the AGM and everything would present me to the community. I haven't quite turned that corner where that's really maximizing anything. So most of what, and I will tell you, and I don't say this bragging because I'm honestly just about as shocked as anybody else would be. My last 2 months, I have closed deal after deal after deal after deal, and none of them that I really know about were because of my effort to go sell them. I'm not knocking on doors. I didn't do the email campaign. They are pure referrals. Um, and so, why now? Why after all this time? I don't know. Because I have a lot of people I know in the business. I know several people locally in the business, and they're not having the same, traction that I'm getting right now. So
well, from what I see you doing Remote Millionaires, like I would chalk that up to two things. One is putting yourself out there, right? Like not just relying on an online thing to do it, like being involved in your community in addition to what you're doing online. And then two, consistency, right? Every day, more and more, I become like so convinced that it's not like when you say like you're not maximizing and all that, like Nick and I have felt that way our entire careers. Like we always feel like the way to get the maximum out of what we're doing is just around the corner. It's always just around the corner. You never feel like you're there, but the key is to do what you're doing, which is take that imperfect action, right? And do it on a consistent basis.
Yes.
And then, look at your results. And then you hit that tipping point where those things happen. So awesome. Well,
yeah, that's well said. That's well said. Because I don't know that I'll ever feel like I arrived or that I've ever really gotten it all done. Oh, there, now watch it all roll in the door. It's a constant, like you say, the consistency of it, and finding a pace. I mean, everybody would love to like flip a switch and then the phone just rings off the hook, but you can't manage that. I mean,
wouldn't that be nice?
I got 3 new accounts last week, and it takes a lot of time to follow up and onboard them and tell the subcontractors and get it all going. I didn't do anything else. So no, you don't really want the floodgates to open. You want to do it in a way that you can manage it and learn from it and do it well so that you maintain them forever.
Yeah.
You were right that my efforts are local. However, 5-6 years ago, or even better, I had an SEO guy SEO me all over the United States for web design. So I get phone calls from all over the United States, 2 or 3 a week, maybe. I don't close them all. So many of them want to meet at the coffee shop, and I can't because I'm here. But just today, a guy from Georgia and Utah, and this came back to being authentic. I don't know what I was doing or saying other than just being me and talking realistically. And I flat out said, you're not ever going to get me to blow smoke. I want you to have realistic expectations. I want you to feel comfortable in the process. There's a lot of these things on this list you don't need, and it's just going to spin your wheels and so forth. Towards the end of the conversation, he says, I've talked to a lot of people and I haven't made my decision yet. He says, but you're at the top because you just sound real and I trust what you're saying. What did I say? I don't know. So that was encouraging, but okay, because I don't. I mean, if you've done this long enough, you don't want to give them, oh yeah, 3 months you're going to be number one and the phone's going to ring off the hook. You have no way of guaranteeing that. So I always way downplay it. But then what happens might look good, So.
Yeah. Well, that's great.
Don't you think, Joanne, though, if you think about the totality, you look at that equation of what you just did with that gentleman and how you act, right? And how you've kind of launched and relaunched your agency, it's always been you're authentic. You're Joanne, right? You are here. You are. I'm not like, if I've heard you say to me once, you've said it 1,000. I'm not going to blow smoke up anybody's, you know what, right? To put Tubi,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, in the cigar bar, you're not blowing any only, you know, and so you're just really authentic and just kind of going to people, and I think people appreciate that. Small business owners appreciate that. Let's have a conversation as fellow small business owners, and I'm going to tell you what I believe is going to be truthful, and maybe your results are going to be better than that, but I'm not going to be here. And I think sometimes, we, in the desire to get the sale, especially in the newness of an agency, people might be a little overzealous, we'll say, and not their authentic self. But I mean, in essence, that's your brand, right? Your brand is, I am who I am. I am authentically going through this, and like me or don't like me, I'm okay with that, right? Because I'm just going to move on to the next thing.
That's right.
But
And
I know we
wanted
get
the long term, I
yeah,
wanted that term thing. And what's interesting, so I was introduced to Go High Level through the Remote Millionaires. And this guy was telling me, oh, well, this other guy, he's got this package and you get this and that. And he starts listing all this stuff. I'm like, man, that sounds vaguely familiar. So I got him to actually send me the screenshot of what this guy had sent him. And it is exactly the 3 levels of high level, although he added a website or something in there. And his prices are a little elevated from what our standard is, but everything. And that's what I went down and said, you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. And so it looks really impressive. And the end result was I said, I'll match that. He's like, oh, so I'm like, because it's higher value than what I would sell.
There you go.
I'm like, yeah, I'll match that. Sure, no problem.
Add a zero.
Right.
You added a zero to it. Hey, James Tomaszewski, he's got a really good idea, and I'm going to highlight that. Right? Can I? I like this, right? Where he's like, I do free shout outs Saturday posts for small businesses on my socials and I do once a week, right? 4 posts in a day. I think that is really, 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 really cool. And I think that's just being authentic, being part of your community, and just going out there and, focusing on how do I help others, right? It goes back to how you started. Help somebody get their Facebook page back. And I got 2 referrals.
And I saw, Dorn and some other folks talking about, Facebook groups and so forth. That's just my name out there. I mean, every time I say, oh, you really ought to call Bill for plumbing. Oh my gosh, my greatest friend Jane, blah, blah, and also I've been highlighted to all these people. I said, give me a referral back, not a referral, but give me, in BNI, you get credit for, having given a referral. And until I know that person called them, I don't get that. But now all of a sudden, everybody in my BNI group is on heightened alert in those groups. Joanne tagged me for something, because I had 3 people at this last BNI meeting say, yeah, Joanne tagged me, I got it. Joanne tagged me, I got it. So, yeah. So I think the group, not that was financial gain for me, that was community building, whether it's my referral partners or people get good services, because you are a Rolodex of good services within your community. You become the go-to guy if you leverage that well. So I like that Saturday shout out. I'm stealing it.
Well, you're swipe and deploy, we call it, right? We're never stealing, we're swiping and deploying, and we'll give James a credit for that. Look, everybody else is stealing that too. I see. Poor James, you put that out there. I got like 15 people saying I'm stealing that. I'm stealing that. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And I think there was a book I read. I look behind me, right? Every time I'm on the show, I got to go buy 15 books because Tom's always got such great recommendations. And my Audible is filled up, my Kindle, but it's called Mr. Schmooze, right? And it's based on, that was his principle was he was a guy that just kind of created a real estate business or an insurance business or something, and he just was a connector, and he just was just focused on that. And so you're being authentic when you're doing that, right? And you're kind of going out into the BNIs of the world and the alignable groups and the chambers. How many different, would you say, groups you're part of or events are you in a week?
In a week, just
Yeah.
just one, maybe two a
Okay.
week.
All right.
So BNI is a weekly commitment period.
Yeah.
My chamber has 2 events in the course of a month that I make sure I get to. And then alignable, I create that.
Right.
So let me go to alignable, because
Yeah. Go ahead.
honestly, I
Thank you.
think it is an untapped resource for all of you on this call. So a year ago, spring, I got an email or something, probably everybody on Alignable did. Hey, we are wanting to move this virtual space to the real world, and we're looking for ambassadors who will head up meetings in your community. Well, duh. I mean, everybody on Alignable are business owners, basically, So I raise my hand, I go to a quick little webinar, I go through a video series, I get approved as an ambassador. I choose my community, so I'm the Westchester, Ohio alignable. They call them an alliance, all the A's, you gotta like think about that there for a minute. So I'm the ambassador for this local alliance. The only thing alignable asks of me is to organize one event a month. And
Okay.
it could be virtual, but what's the point of that when they're right here in your backyard? So I started a year ago, October, in Westchester, and then a neighboring community was so far to go 7 miles that they wanted me to start another group over there. So I did. And both of them would have 20 plus people. So it
Okay.
was worth my while.
Sure.
But that all declined. Back in June, July, I started barely getting sick. Sometimes nobody showed, and so forth. So I really regrouped here at the end of the year. Canceled December. Thought it was okay. Found another venue, and it's a very, very high-end steakhouse that most of the people who went probably will never go back because they can't afford it, but this was a way for them to be there or whatever. What all was the attraction, I'm not sure, but I had 36 people
Wow.
out
Okay.
of almost 70 registered. I'm like,
Good
wow.
show rate. Yeah, it's a good show
Yeah,
rate.
would have been nice if I'd been in town for it. That was one of my big mistakes, is I booked my vacation the same week. It didn't work out right. But it was a huge success. I had a co-leader, and so she led it. We focus more on the referral process rather than you trying to get a customer out of this group. We really are trying to educate the business owners on how do you build a referral network where you get business after business after business after business from that network. So that's what we focus on. Otherwise, I kind of run it like a BNI. You get to do a commercial. We have maybe a featured speaker and so forth. So the advantage to me, yeah, you can do self promotion. Yeah, I'll get into that a little bit. But the advantage to me is I book this event, and Alignable blasts it out to everybody in my communities. Joanne is inviting you to Joanne. So now when that email goes out, I will get a few messages. Joanne, I really wanted to come this time. Thanks for thinking of me. You're welcome. I don't know who you are. It's really crazy how personal it became because of the way they market it. And every single person who ever RSVPs for it, I connect to, anybody in my Westchester alignable community, I connect to. So I am now it. I'm a big deal here in my little neck of the woods, and I attribute a huge amount of that to Alignable because they do all the marketing for me.
And so do you, we'll go back to that one question because I think it's a valuable question. And then there's some other questions about Alignable, and I think it's more execution questions. Do you try to take them to other vehicles too? So what I mean is you connect with them on Alignable, and everybody should be on Alignable, but do you then try to connect with them maybe on Facebook or LinkedIn also, so you have another outlet to communicate with them?
I have not. Probably a good idea, but I have not.
Okay.
Part of it, if you're going to become an ambassador, then you really need to become misalignable. I mean, anything I do in and around this, I really need to embrace, promote this community. I think
Okay.
it's the right thing.
100%.
There are, and to his point, I'd have to look really at some of the bylines and so forth. I promote myself. I have a profile that is Westwood Digital Marketing. I have products and services on there. Alignable came to me and said, "Hey, we'd like to feature you in the store that they have of, presenting experts." And so I sold a couple of websites because when they went in there, there was me. And so, yes, you can promote yourself. Now, how often I'd be curious where that thought came from. How do you pronounce your name?
Chandra, I'm going to put it back up there.
Um, so you can promote. I don't know if there's some restriction on how much. I mean, there's a realtor. He and I would compete. I think he'd post, I post, he'd post, I'd post, and we were the only ones in Westchester posting. And so when you get the newsletter, it's Realty Joanne, Realty Joanne, Realty. So yeah, you certainly can. A couple of things. So when I was on an Alignable group, there was another digital marketer, and so he said, "Hey, I just create an event, a promotion that has a deadline. So, and I'm probably going to do it in March, and I'm
Okay.
going to say, hey, I'm giving away a website. So all you have to do is leave a comment here and give me your website. And, at the end of the month, I'm going to evaluate those. I don't know how random my choice will be. It could be the one that I think has a whole bunch of connections that I could benefit from, or it could be the one that I have already a website I could put together, or whatever. But it cost me $100 to have my buddy go ahead and put the website together. So I gave one away to a travel agent. He has told everybody and his brother about the website. Everybody's just thrilled for him because they love the website. And he emailed me last week. He goes, he was saying from Google, I got my first form submission off the website. And he has a travel database, much like Go High Level, but proprietary to the travel industry. And then he says, then I got 4 phone calls in one day off of Google. And I said, well, I'm not doing anything for your Google listing right now. However, I can't imagine that when they find you on Google and they now look at your website, you look professional, and so they'll call you. You probably had activity before, but your website looked like your 4th grader did it. He goes, yep, you're probably right. So always selling,
Right.
I didn't do the Google stuff, but I think that was already $100 well spent. I could have done it myself, but it really looks super nice having somebody else put it together. And it's a high level website. Looks really nice.
Good.
So I'll do that again. So yeah, you can promote yourself and you can get kind of creative with it. Now I'm in Reach, so every once in a while I'll put a little post up about a free listing in the directory. I think somebody else is in a neighboring community. I've seen him do his site a few times and so forth. So yeah, you can.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you got another remote millionaire person doing their Reach site
or
close
at
by.
least the Reach thing. I don't know if they're remote millionaires, but they are certainly doing Reach. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we that's great. Now I think Dorn has a question, which is always dangerous, but I'll put it up there. Do you do a paid account or just the regular account?
Very good. I should have said Alignable requires 2 things of me. So they do ask that I have a paid account, and I think there's 3 levels. There's a free, there's kind of a local, and then there's a national. So I did the local. So when you go on for free, you get to say I am in XYZ community, and that's who you have the most access to.
Okay.
Now, because I was asked to upgrade, I upgraded and I got, I think, 5 more communities. So, I picked all around me the 5 more communities I wanted. And I also learned, FYI, take a look at how many people are in them, because some, surprisingly attract a whole lot of people, and you'd think this other one did. So you can see the numbers of people who are considering that their home base. So I do have a paid account. I have the local. I got 5 more, communities to talk to. So when I do a post from Joanne, I can post that out to 6 communities. And actually, I think they gave me a whole lot more, in all honesty. But as the alignable, when I post an event or something about that uh, alignable group, that's not what they call it, the alliance, then that just goes to whoever's in that alliance. So I'm making up numbers. I don't have it in front of me, but let's say Westchester has 1,800 people. My alliance has 600 of those people, and I might get less than 100 even thinking about coming to a meeting.
Okay.
But what matters to me is the 2 people or the 20 people or whatever in the room. I like more, because a lot of times you end up then with the same people. So only because of that do I like more people in the room. But don't discount some of the best conversations we've had is when only 6 people showed up. And so then I did more of so what's working in your business and what's not. And then you get the benefit of all these other people sitting around the table in different industries and different places in their journey, speaking into what they do and maybe something unique to their industry you've never considered. So those were some of the richest conversations we had, is when we only had 6 people show up.
Yeah, power of small numbers. 6 engaged people are better than 20 people that are, kind of just doing drive-bys or something of that nature. Now, I look at if I look at Alignable, and I don't do enough on it, I need to do better on it. So I gotta have you teach me. But like, there's all these other secondary groups, right? So like, I joined Ask Small Business Owners Anything, right? Just so I can hear what small business owners are kind of asking and questioning, and marketing for small business groups. Are you active in those also?
No, I'm not. And again, the funny thing is, having jumped in on the early side of things, I'm actually the moderator for the
Yeah.
National Digital Marketers Group.
Okay.
So
Okay.
don't anger me. I'll say so.
Kick them out.
And even then, I don't do that much
Right.
in that group, because that's not my market. That's my
Right.
competitor. So it's not a whole lot. I
On
saw
that
that.
note, Chandra, and hopefully I'm getting his name correct, is asking, lots of other digital marketers, kind of sort of my competition, ask me allowed into my network. Should I allow them or ignore them? What's your suggestion?
Yeah, it's going to be a personal response, quite honestly. So it kind of depends. So Joanne connects to thousands of people, and I don't know how many. I have a very large number, because my benefit is I now can connect to 100 people a month, where you can only do 10 or something.
Okay.
So I think connecting with me is okay. I could care less if they have access to my local, but I think somebody else commented. Going into the group, I really don't want them there, but I'm the one who has the bigger spotlight, So they're competing with me. I'm not competing with them. They're trying to get that light over on them. And I've had a few folks show up to a meeting, but what are you going to do when I'm leading the meeting and everybody thinks, Joanne's, butters your toast on both sides and so forth? It's a hard thing. Even the guy that I said is in our cohort group
Yeah.
here. He at least RSVP'd. I don't know if he showed up or not. Okay, there's plenty of businesses out there. We do business with people we know, like, and trust.
Sure.
So my authenticity of who I am could really piss off somebody else. They don't have anything to do with me. So I guess my answer is I wouldn't fear it. I wouldn't decline it. I wouldn't highlight them. But and I did want to say earlier we were talking about Facebook and the business spotlight. Something else you can do is invite all your friends to like a business. Now I usually only do that with my own customers. Now I don't publicize, hey, I just sold ABC Beauty Shop. I don't tell the world who my clients are. But I will invite everybody I know on Facebook to go like there. So I have really boosted the numbers of people, and it doesn't even just have to be your clients. That's a new restaurant in a nearby town or something. It just helps give them a little of that. So when you're on Facebook, on the businesses page, there's a 3 dots or something, and you click on that and it says invite, and then it opens up your friend list.
Okay.
And I'll go through, like, somebody in Idaho and Hawaii doesn't really need to know about the restaurant next door, but how much time you want to invest unclicking all of them. But I would do that. That's huge. And they don't really even know I did that. So I mean, that's not something I get benefit out of other than knowing that I was helping them. So.
Well, that's good. That's a great tip. So in short, no, unless you have Joanne's spotlight. All right. So I think Michael is correct.
Oh, Nick, one thing I would say about the group thing too, having experience in running some groups,
yeah,
and especially offline sharks, like when a common thing among marketers is, oh yeah, just go out and like a lot of the gurus and people out there encourage people to go snipe clients and business from groups, right?
Yeah.
And like, as someone who has invested a lot of time, energy in building a successful group, it is really annoying to when people do that as the group owner, because like, look, we want everybody to be in, but you're putting in the work and effort of building that group and nurturing those people.
Right.
Don't, we draw a hard line on people coming in that are just trying to skip doing the work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is what they're trying to do. They're just trying to skip doing the work. Like, if you want that prominence and that, that positioning that we have, go start your own group, build it up to however many people you want to get in there.
Yeah.
Like, the reason people don't do that is because it's not an easy thing to do. If it were easy, everybody would have their own groups. And so if you're going to put in the work, I am definitely encourage you to draw a line on that. Like, don't let those people come in and do those things. Like, you can let them in, but when they step out of line, just be like, hey, listen, see you later.
There's the door. Yeah.
You're out.
I like that.
Yep.
And I don't want to, I recognize I have a very extroverted personality. Running a group live at the platform doesn't faze me in the least. And if that's not your thing, then maybe this isn't the right avenue for you. Or you find another extroverted person in your community, maybe not the digital marketer. You can still be the digital marketer and co-lead the group so that they have that, so figure out who you are and then, work within that comfort zone.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I mean, that's what Nick and I did, right? Like, Nick and I, over the years, we have constantly divvied up the responsibility, because look, when you're building a business, any kind of business, there's a lot to do. And,
sure.
There's really no shortcut. Like, people are always like, well, what's the thing you do first? Well, like, there's really nothing to do first. Like, you have to work on all of it all at the same time. And, but how do you do that? Well, it helps if you have some support and if you can find somebody that you can, that there's like, what I always encourage people to do is exactly what Joanne said. Look for someone who has different strengths than you. You guys don't want to be you don't want to you don't want to be trying to climb the same tree. You know, if their strength is operations and organization, like let them do that. And your strength is the presenting and the sales and the rubbing elbows and the shaking hands and the kissing the babies, like you do that. If it's the if your strength is not sales and you can find somebody whose strength is, then those are good. I think those are good partnerships that can last because you're each contributing something, right?
And yes, and something else that came to mind is within your organization. I don't know if they're a million. I think they might even be in a mastermind with Dorn or something. There's a guy who has been super successful in getting a couple of hundred people to a group thing, but he's doing it in a very unique niche of the CBD, the whole, marijuana thing. They don't have a whole lot of areas where they can go and talk about who they are and what they do. And so I don't want people to compete with those numbers. That's not who you're trying to do. You're trying to do local. And so, and I love the way Nick said it. I don't remember what he said, but that the small numbers can be to your benefit. You can't talk to 35 people in the room. You could sit, and I have done that several times. I've had an audience of 6 other people around the table, and I'm leading the conversation. I'm it. So there's some benefit to having the small numbers.
Yeah, one of the myths we always talk about is and we've been hammering this for years and years and years. It's quality over quantity. Like everybody thinks that it's and you hear people say this, it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. And it is to some extent, but it's also like that doesn't mean it's a big numbers game. Like a numbers game just means we're being consistent in our outreach and how many people are reaching out to on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis. But those numbers don't have to be big. We can have a list of 100 people that we think are really great potential clients for us. And we could spend all of our time just reaching out and following up to those 100 people and probably get really good results versus somebody who's, sending out emails to thousands of people a day, right? Because we're, over time, we're building those relationships with them. So I think you're right on the point there. This idea that it takes these big numbers, the first real time that I made money from selling information online, I had a Facebook group that only had 50 people in it. Like it just had 50 people. Like you don't need big numbers to do those things. So I think that's a really great point. Hey,
that reminds me real quick, when I signed up for Alignable, that in that fall, before I even had my first meeting, I had a local lady call and have me talk about digital marketing. I sold her it more than paid for my paid account with Alignable, and that was before I had my first meeting. So
yeah, that's great stuff. Hey, by the way, if you guys want to hear more about Joanne's story and how she's doing things, Nick did an amazing interview with her on how Joanne doubled her income since joining Remote Millionaires. And if you look at the bottom of the screen there's a link. If you go to remotemillionaires.com/Joanne, you can watch that interview. There's a lot more great tips and stuff in there from Joanne. So it's definitely worth checking out. Take a pen and paper, take some notes. Really great stuff in there. So Joanne, thanks so much for coming on and joining us. Really appreciate having you here.
Absolutely.
Joanne, this was wonderful. I'm going to try to use butter your goose on both sides at least once in a conversation, because that was your comment that I liked. So this weekend I'm going to try to work that in.
I love it. All right. Well, Joanne, thanks so much. I'm going to put you back in the green room, and then we're going to do some shark shout outs. So
thanks, Joanne.
That was awesome stuff, Nick. That was awesome stuff. So I want to do some shark shout outs to wrap up the show. Sorry about the new so I was telling Nick before we started, my camera, some cord is broken, and so I can't use my normal camera. So this is just my regular Mac camera, and I brought the Monster.
Oh my gracious!
Yeah,
is that a gallon?
You can do some curls with this while you're drinking.
That's incredible. Is that a gallon or a half gallon?
Boy, that's a good question. It's 1,800 milliliters. What is that? Right. So 64 ounces.
And it's water or
Whatever that
vodka?
is. Yeah, it's water. It's water.
Okay.
I went to the gym. So before the live show, I went to the gym and I did 14 miles on the bike,
Wow.
doing the bike. So it was like an hour. And so I drink the water while I was doing that. But anyway, so let's do some shark shout outs. So I'm going to share my screen here. And hold on, let me find this. Here we go. All right, first up, we've got Lynette Wells. She signed up a new client for a complete website overhaul, social media, and implementation of new tools to have AI being a strong asset for both time saving, new client captures, and retentions. This was a $6,424 deal, $824 a month for social, and $600 a month for the mailing. Really awesome stuff. It's interesting. We're if you get our emails, we brought an AI tool from Ben Murray to our group over the past few days, and somebody asked about, we'd kind of talked before on the show about using AI and SEO posts and things like that. And man, the technology and what's going on there is evolving so much that we're evolving our view on how we're using AI in the agency. We are implementing using it a lot more for initial content creation and things like that for SEO and stuff like that in the agency, and then keeping a human element to kind of edit it. So this is really great to see Lynette jumping on that, that AI bandwagon and being able to close the deal and do it for some clients. So excellent work, Lynette. Next up, Shark Alliance member Donna Norris. She signed up another mid-tier client for her database reactivation 14-day trial. No upfront cost, just usage charges and a small 25% cut from their campaign earnings. That's awesome, Donna. I don't know that I understand all what you're doing there, but I'd love to hear more.
It's fascinating. I'm like, wow, I got to figure out what that is. That's very fascinating.
Yeah. So I'm guessing, so she must be, all right, let me see if I can parse this. And Donna, you can tell me if I'm right or not. So I'm guessing the client has a database and she's running a reactivation campaign to get new revenue. And then she's making 25% of the earnings that come from her reactivation.
Got you. So like a dentist has a bunch of people that haven't been in the last couple of years.
I got an email list. Not doing anything with it, right?
Yeah, she's going to run a reactivation to them to get them up. Yeah.
And I'm guessing that she's doing it from, So I think that's what she's doing. So, I think that's a huge, I love that, Donna, because I think that's a huge untapped area for a lot of people. So many almost every local business I do business with has a list that they're doing diddly with. They don't even know where to start, so you don't have to be a superstar direct marketer to get results with that stuff because they're not doing anything, right? Even a little results can help. And even a lot of times just doing the basics because they're not even doing the basics, right? It's not like you're, I always laugh when I see like copywriters because they always want to compete in like the financial and the health markets, which are like the hardest ones. I always thought, why not go after medium-sized businesses that don't even know what copywriting is? Because then you're not competing against anybody because like none of them are doing anything. All you'd have to do is write a good headline and you could probably knock it out of the park, I love that. All right. Let's see. Shark Alliance member Sandy Alexander picked up her first Canadian client for website edit and Google Business Update, $399 US. Excellent work, Sandy.
Yeah.
Excellent work.
And Canadians, so they're nice.
Yeah. Shark Alliance member Chandra Rowe. Is that how you say your last name, Chandra? So Chandra is actually coming to Las Vegas. So I think, did you send me an email yet, Chandra, so we can make sure we hook up? But we're going to meet up while he's here. He got a new social media management client secured, $499 Canadian, so $370 US. Excellent work.
Big win.
Excellent work. Let's see who's up next. Chris Burns sold a Fix My Listings offer to a business that took a spot on his AGM site. So what that is his Google business profile. So we have a sequence that our remote millionaires use, where when somebody takes a listing on their AGM or they sign somebody up through Reach, we make them an offer to help them with their Google business profile. That's what the Fix My Listings is. And there's some additional things we do with that. So Chris sold one of those, $249. He mentioned during the Reach audit that our community resource site sister company, which is his agency, can get those pesky listings all squared away and sent the link to the checkout page, done, sold. So that's really great, because for those of you that aren't familiar with Reach or don't know what Reach does, we have a cold email sequence process that we run a list through. People then they get made a free offer. If they take that, they get made a paid offer. Ultimately, we end up with a group of people scheduled for live Zoom conversations where we go over an audit of their digital presence. That's what Chris did here. When he was doing that audit, he just said, hey, man, by the way, my other company could help you fix those listings. And they were like, yep, done. So really great stuff, Chris. Remote Millionaires Bill Cook sold his first premium listing. Noticed the Stripe notification yesterday once he got off the RM call with Laura Thompson. Excellent work, Bill. Nothing like getting Stripe notifications.
Beautiful thing.
Yep. And then finally, the team at Nick Ponte Marketing closed an $18,000 per year client. This client has come on board as a $3,000 per month Google Ads client, committing to a 6-month agreement.
Wow.
Awesome stuff. Congratulations to the team there for closing that deal. That brings our grand total for the week of February 10th through the 16th to $26,331. Since the start of 2024, you out there in our community have generated $75,746 since the start of 2024. We are very close to a 6-figure business, and we're only halfway through the second month. Like, that's how fast it can happen. You just got to get out there and take some action. So if you're taking action, if you're getting results, if you're getting wins, make sure you share those with us. We'd really appreciate that. And then we have one more thing to do before we go.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money.
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Cheating, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then you're talking no matter.
All right. We've got a couple of winners today for our Fast Cash. Let me see. Where are they? Oh, I don't see them here yet. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick a couple of random winners here. So I'm going to go up. We're going to pick, hold on. Let me look. Let's do Michael Marquez. And I'm scrolling up through here. Hold on. I want to find a good random. Who's been commenting a lot on today's stream?
James
Marquez. And let's do Jacqueline Heath. I see her
Jacqueline,
face
okay.
on the stream. Look at that. Nice work. The team will get some Cash App money to you. Normally, we pull a couple of random people off of the shout out post, but I didn't do that today, so a little different. Also, too, Nick, we were talking in the beginning about money, abundance, and things like that. Cameron Rote, our rock star operations manager at Offline Sharks and Remote Millionaires, actually recommended a good book to me that I've been skimming. I haven't started to read it yet, but I've been skimming. That's kind of along that way, but it's called Money is My Friend.
Okay.
By Phil Lout. I think that's how you say his name. Eliminate your financial fears and take your first steps of financial freedom. Anyway, there's a lot of good things in here that you can see. I've already marked some stuff. And
yeah. All right. Have you ever read Stuart Wilde, The Trick to Money is Having Some?
I love that book.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's one of my favorite ones. Yeah. I have The Trick to Money is Having Some is one of my favorite ones. I also have another one that I just read called Money Love, which is really good. And then Cameron recommended this one to me. And then, Joe Vitale, who was on The Secret. So I know Joe from a long time ago. So Joe it used to be a professional run. He's an amateur magician.
Okay.
And so I know him through magic, and I actually went to one of his live events, like way back. But he's got a couple of books. He's got one called Money Loves Speed that I thought was really, really great. Kind of a newer one, and a couple of other ones that are pretty good. But all right, we got some books in there for you, Patty.
We got some books people were asking, and I just got delivered. I have not started, full transparency, the Charlie Munger, like wit and wisdom collection type thing. When he passed away,
go ahead.
I didn't know if you were leaving me. So because you got the wit and wisdom of Charlie Munger, right? Absolutely, seeking wisdom. Like this I ordered before he passed away by like minutes, and then he passed away, and it went on back order. So I finally got that. So I'll tear into that. We could talk about that one.
What's it called? It's called The Wit and Wisdom.
I think it's called The Wit and Wisdom of Charlie Munger. And it's got a beautiful. It's a reprint. You know what? It's a compilation of some of the best stuff from the Rich Charlie Munger Almanac. And it's
gotcha. Yeah.
Okay. And it's beautiful picture of him on the front. It just got delivered yesterday from Amazon, so it's still in the wrapper.
Ooh, I like when you get new books. It's exciting.
It's fun.
All right, listen, hey everybody, thanks for hanging out with us today. I hope you enjoyed this live show. We'll see you here next Friday, same shark time, same shark channel. Until then, go check out the interview Nick did with Joanne, remotemillionaires.com/Joanne. If you have any questions, let us know in the Facebook group. You know, our support team is always available 24/7. Just go to offlinesharks.com/support if you need anything. I'm going to cue up the outro, and we'll see you next week. Aloha. Stay safe, everybody.
You've been watching the Aloha Marketing Jam session. We've helped thousands just like you start and scale their businesses. If you'd like our help to grow your business, go to the link on your screen now and let us know how we can help you. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this stream. We'll be back here next Friday for another live show. Until then, aloha.